Avoid these 7 costly retirement traps, your guide to a secure financial future. Retirement. For many, the word conjures images of sandy beaches, leisurely hobbies, time spent with grandchildren, or simply the freedom from the daily grind. It represents the culmination of decades of hard work, a well-deserved reward for years of contribution. Yet, for a concerning number of people, this dream risks turning into a nightmare fraught with financial anxiety and unexpected hardship. The path to a secure and comfortable retirement is often littered with potential pitfalls, costly traps that can derail even seemingly well-laid plans. The stakes are incredibly high. Outliving your savings, facing unaffordable healthcare costs, or seeing your purchasing power eroded by inflation are genuine fears. The good news is that many of these traps are avoidable with foresight, planning, and disciplined action. Understanding these common mistakes is the first, crucial step towards navigating around them. This comprehensive guide will delve deep into 7 of the most significant and costly retirement traps that individuals and couples frequently fall into. We won't just identify the problems, we will explore why they happen, illustrate their potential impact with real-world context, and most importantly, provide actionable strategies and solutions you can implement to safeguard your financial future. Whether you are just starting your career, are deep in the throes of midlife planning, or are nearing the retirement starting line, this information is vital. It's time to move beyond wishful thinking and actively build a resilient retirement plan. Let's uncover these traps and learn how to sidestep them for a future defined by security and peace of mind, not financial regret. The 7 costly retirement traps we will explore. The insufficient savings and late start trap, failing to save enough, or starting too late, crippling the power of compounding. The healthcare cost blind spot trap, grossly underestimating the financial burden of healthcare and long-term care in retirement. The inflation erosion trap, ignoring the silent but devastating effect of rising prices on fixed incomes. The aggressive withdrawal and sequence risk trap, withdrawing too much money too soon, especially during market downturns. The tax torpedo trap, overlooking the significant impact of taxes on retirement income streams. The longevity miscalculation trap, failing to plan for a potentially long lifespan, risking outliving savings. The emotional reaction and lack of plan trap, making knee-jerk financial decisions or operating without a coherent strategy. Let's dissect each of these traps in detail. Trap number 1, the insufficient savings and late start trap. The lure of the trap, I have plenty of time. I'll save more when I earn more. Retirement is so far away, I need the money now. These common refrains echo the siren song of procrastination and immediate gratification. Life is expensive, with demands like student loans, mortgages, raising children, and daily living costs constantly vying for our dollars. Pushing retirement savings down the priority list feels natural, almost necessary, in the short term. Coupled with a potential lack of financial literacy or understanding of how much is truly needed, many people simply don't save enough, or they delay starting saving in earnest until their 40s or even 50s. Why it's so costly? The most significant casualty of delaying retirement savings is the lost power of compound interest, often called the 8th wonder of the world. Compounding is the process where your investment returns start generating their own returns. The earlier you start, the more time your money has to grow exponentially. Starting late means missing out on decades of potential growth, forcing you to save significantly larger sums later in life to achieve the same result, a feat that is often mathematically or practically impossible. The math doesn't lie. Consider 2 individuals aiming for retirement. Sarah starts saving at age 25. She invests 500 P E R M O N T H 500 per month. 6,000 per year, consistently until age 65, 40 years. Assuming an average annual return of 7%, her nest egg could grow to approximately $1.2 million. Her total contribution over 40 years is $240,000. Mark starts saving at age 45. He realizes he's behind and decides to save aggressively, investing 1. 500 P E R M O N T H 1,500 per month. 18,000 per year, until age 65, 20 years. Assuming the same 7% average annual return, his nest egg could grow to approximately $738,000. His total contribution over 20 years is $360,000. Despite contributing $120,000 more out of his own pocket, Mark ends up with significantly less than Sarah because he missed out on 20 crucial years of compounding. To reach Sarah's $1.2 million by age 65, Mark would need to save nearly $2,500 per month starting at age 45. This highlights the immense challenge of playing catch-up. Insufficient final nest egg. The ultimate cost is simple: not having enough money to sustain your desired lifestyle in retirement. This can lead to drastic spending cuts, reliance on family, inability to handle unexpected expenses, or even being forced to return to work when physically or mentally unprepared. The stress and anxiety associated with financial insecurity in later life can severely impact overall well-being. How to avoid this trap? Start early, even if small. The single most effective action is to begin saving for retirement as soon as you start earning income, even if it's just a small percentage. Enroll in your employer's 401k or 403b plan immediately. If you don't have access to one, open an individual retirement account, IRA, either traditional or Roth. The habit is as important as the initial amount. Maximize employer matches. If your employer offers a match on your 401k contributions, e.g., matching 50% of your contributions up to 6% of your salary, contribute at least enough to get the full match. This is essentially free money and an immediate, guaranteed return on your investment. Failing to do so is leaving part of your compensation on the table. Automate your savings. Treat retirement savings like any other essential bill. Set up automatic contributions from your paycheck to your 401k or automatic transfers from your checking account to your IRA. This pay yourself first strategy removes the temptation to spend the money and ensures consistency. Increase contributions regularly. Don't just set it and forget it at the minimum level. Aim to increase your savings percentage each year, perhaps by 1% annually, or every time you receive a raise or bonus. This gradual increase is often less painful than large jumps and significantly boosts long-term results. Many financial advisors recommend saving 15% or more of your pre-tax income, including any employer match, for retirement. Set clear goals and track progress. Don't just save blindly. Use online retirement calculators or work with a financial advisor to estimate how much you'll likely need in retirement based on your desired lifestyle, expected expenses, including healthcare, and desired retirement age. Regularly review your progress towards these goals and adjust your savings strategy as needed. Catch-up contributions. If applicable, if you are age 50 or older, the IRS allows you to make additional catch-up contributions to your 401k, and IRAs beyond the standard limits. Take full advantage of these if you started late or need to boost your savings. Takeaway: time is your greatest ally in retirement saving. Overcoming inertia and making saving a non-negotiable priority from the earliest possible stage is paramount. The longer you wait, the steeper the climb becomes. Trap number 2, the healthcare cost blind spot trap. The lure of the trap: many pre-retirees operate under the comforting but dangerous assumption that Medicare will cover most, if not all, of their healthcare expenses in retirement. Others simply fail to grasp the sheer magnitude of potential costs, particularly for long-term care. Healthcare expenses often feel abstract until they become a personal reality. During working years, employer-sponsored health insurance typically subsidizes a large portion of the cost, masking the true expense. This leads to a significant underestimation of what individuals will need to budget for healthcare once they retire and transition to Medicare or private insurance. Why it's so costly. Healthcare expenses are consistently one of the largest and most unpredictable costs retirees face. Underestimating them can shatter even robust retirement budgets. Medicare is not free and doesn't cover everything. While Medicare provides essential coverage, it comes with significant out-of-pocket costs. Premiums. Most people don't pay a premium for Medicare Part A, hospital insurance, if they or their spouse paid Medicare taxes long enough. However, Part B, medical insurance, has monthly premiums, $174.70 in 2024, but potentially higher based on income. Part D, prescription drug coverage, also has separate premiums that vary by plan. Many retirees also purchase Medicare Supplement Insurance, Medigap, or enroll in a Medicare Advantage, Part C, plan, both of which have additional premiums. Deductibles and coinsurance. Medicare Parts A and B have deductibles that must be met before coverage kicks in, as well as coinsurance, typically 20% for Part B services, for covered services with no annual out-of-pocket maximum in Original Medicare. Coverage gaps. Crucially, Original Medicare generally does not cover routine dental care, vision exams/eyeglasses, hearing aids, or, most significantly, long-term custodial care, help with daily activities like bathing, dressing, eating. These uncovered services can represent substantial ongoing expenses. Projected lifetime costs. Fidelity Investments estimates that a 65-year-old couple retiring in 2023 would need approximately $315,000, after tax, saved specifically for healthcare expenses throughout their retirement, excluding long-term care. This figure underscores the significant financial burden healthcare represents. The long-term care, LTC, catastrophe. This is often the biggest financial shock. Long-term care refers to services needed by people who cannot perform basic activities of daily living, ADLs, due to chronic illness, disability, or cognitive impairment. This can include in-home care, assisted living facilities, or nursing home care. High probability, higher costs. The U.S. Department of Health and Human Services estimates that about 70% of people turning 65 today will need some form of long-term care in their remaining years. Exorbitant expenses. Costs vary widely by location and type of care, but they are substantial. Genworth's 2023 Cost of Care Survey shows median annual costs. Homemaker Services, $69,000. Home Health Aid, $76,000. Assisted Living Facility, Private Room $64,200. Nursing Home, Semi-Private Room $104,000. Nursing Home, Private Room $116,800. Medicare Limitation. Medicare only covers limited, short-term skilled nursing care following a qualifying hospital stay, not the long-term custodial care most people need. Medicaid does cover LTC, but only after you've depleted most of your assets. Rules vary by state. How to avoid this trap? Budget realistically. Factor significant healthcare costs into your overall retirement savings goal. Use estimates like Fidelity's as a starting point, but personalize it based on your health status, family history, and desired level of coverage. Don't assume minimal expenses. Understand Medicare thoroughly. Well before you turn 65, research your Medicare options, Original Medicare, Parts A and B, plus potentially a Part D plan and Medigap policy, or a Medicare Advantage, Part C, plan. Understand the premiums, deductibles, co-pays, provider networks, and coverage limitations of each option. Your choice has significant financial implications. Plan for long-term care. This requires proactive planning. Options include long-term care insurance, LTCI policies specifically designed to cover LTC costs. Premiums can be expensive, especially if purchased later in life, and policy benefits vary. Shop carefully and consider hybrid life/LTC policies. The best time to look into LTCI is often in your 50s or early 60s. Self-funding. Intentionally setting aside a significant portion of your assets specifically earmarked for potential LTC needs. This requires substantial wealth. Medicaid planning. understanding the rules for Medicaid eligibility in your state and potentially structuring assets, legally, often well in advance, may be an option for some, usually requiring consultation with an elder law attorney. Home equity, using a reverse mortgage or selling the home to fund care is another possibility, though it impacts inheritance plans. Maximize health savings accounts, HSAs. If you are currently enrolled in a high-deductible health plan, HDHP, eligible for an HSA, contribute the maximum amount possible. HSAs offer a unique triple tax advantage: contributions are tax-deductible, funds grow tax-free, and withdrawals for qualified medical expenses are tax-free, even in retirement. Unused funds roll over year after year, making HSAs a powerful tool for saving for future healthcare costs. Prioritize preventative care. Staying healthy can reduce future medical expenses. Maintain a healthy lifestyle, get regular checkups, and manage chronic conditions effectively. Takeaway: healthcare costs are a major retirement expense that cannot be ignored or wished away. Proactive planning, understanding Medicare, and addressing the potential need for long-term care are essential components of a secure retirement strategy. Trap number 3, the inflation erosion trap. The lure of the trap: when calculating retirement needs, it's easy to think in today's dollars. A $1 million nest egg might sound substantial now, but its purchasing power will diminish significantly over a 20 or 30-year retirement. Inflation, the rate at which the general level of prices for goods and services is rising, is a silent thief that erodes the value of your savings and fixed income streams over time. People often underestimate its long-term cumulative effect, planning for a static cost of living that simply doesn't exist. Why it's so costly: failing to account for inflation means that the retirement income you planned for buys less and less each year. What seems like a comfortable income in the first year of retirement could feel inadequate a decade or two later. Purchasing power decay: even seemingly low inflation rates have a dramatic impact over time. At an average inflation rate of 3% per year, close to the historical average in the U.S., the purchasing power of a dollar is halved in approximately 24 years, using the rule of 72. 72 divided by 3 is equal to 24. This means that $5,000 per month in retirement income today would only buy what $2,500 buys today after 24 years. Consider specific goods. If a basket of groceries costs $200 today, at 3% inflation, it could cost nearly $360 in 20 years and over $480 in 30 years. Your retirement income needs to keep pace. Impact on fixed income: retirees relying heavily on fixed income sources like pensions without cost of living adjustments, COLAs, or bond portfolios generating fixed interest payments, are particularly vulnerable. Their income remains static while their expenses steadily increase. Underfunded retirement goals: if your retirement savings calculations didn't adequately factor in inflation, you risk running out of money sooner than expected because your expenses will be higher than anticipated throughout your retirement years. How to avoid this trap? Factor inflation into planning. When calculating your retirement savings goal and required income, explicitly incorporate an assumed long-term inflation rate, e.g., 2.5% to 3.5%. Retirement calculators often allow you to input this. Don't base your needs solely on today's costs. Invest for growth. Even in retirement, your portfolio needs to generate returns that outpace inflation over the long term. This typically means maintaining some allocation to growth-oriented assets like stocks, equities, even during retirement, balanced with more conservative investments. Over-reliance on ultra-conservative assets like CDs or cash can guarantee a loss of purchasing power. The specific allocation depends on your risk tolerance, time horizon, and overall financial situation. Consider inflation-protected assets. Treasury inflation-protected securities. Tips: these are U.S. government bonds whose principal value adjusts with inflation, as measured by the Consumer Price Index, CPI. The interest payments are based on the adjusted principal, thus providing protection against inflation. Series I savings bonds, another U.S. Treasury product. I-bonds pay interest based on a combination of a fixed rate and a variable inflation rate, offering protection against rising prices. There are annual purchase limits. Social Security maximization. Social Security benefits are adjusted annually for inflation through COLAs. Delaying claiming Social Security benefits, up to age 70, results in a significantly higher starting benefit, which then grows with inflation, providing a larger inflation-protected income stream for life. Look for inflation adjustments. When considering pensions or annuities, check if they offer COLAs. While often resulting in a lower initial payout, an inflation adjustment can be extremely valuable over a long retirement. Build flexibility into your budget. Recognize that expenses will rise. Review your retirement budget annually and adjust for inflation. Having some discretionary spending that can be trimmed if necessary provides a buffer. Maintain an emergency fund. Having accessible cash reserves prevents you from being forced to sell investments at potentially inopportune times to cover unexpectedly high bills, including those driven up by inflation. Takeaway: inflation is a constant, eroding force. Your retirement plan must acknowledge its existence and incorporate strategies, primarily through growth-oriented investing and inflation-adjusted income sources, to maintain your purchasing power throughout potentially decades of retirement. Trap number 4, the aggressive withdrawal and sequence risk trap. The lure of the trap: after decades of saving, it's tempting to start enjoying the fruits of your labor generously. Retirees might overestimate how much they can safely withdraw each year, perhaps based on strong market performance just before retirement or an overly optimistic view of future returns. They might anchor to simplistic rules of thumb, like the 4% rule, without fully understanding its assumptions or limitations. This can lead to withdrawing too much money, especially in the early years of retirement. Why it's so costly: withdrawing too aggressively, particularly when combined with poor market timing, can permanently cripple a retirement portfolio through sequence of returns risk. Sequence of returns risk explained: this isn't about average long-term returns, it's about the order in which those returns occur, especially relative to withdrawals. Negative returns early in retirement, when your portfolio balance is typically at its highest and you are simultaneously drawing income from it, can be devastating. You are selling assets at depressed prices to fund living expenses, permanently depleting capital that won't be there to benefit from future market recoveries. The same sequence of returns, e.g., -10%, +15%, +8%, has a much worse impact if the negative returns happen during withdrawal years compared to happening during accumulation years. The danger of early depletion: if you withdraw too much during a market downturn early in retirement, you might be forced to drastically reduce your withdrawal rate later, potentially lowering your standard of living significantly, or risk running out of money entirely. It's incredibly difficult to recover from early portfolio damage caused by the combination of withdrawals and negative returns. Limitations of the 4% rule: this popular guideline, derived from historical data by William Ben-Jen in the 1990s, suggested that withdrawing 4% of your initial portfolio value, adjusted annually for inflation, had a high probability of lasting 30 years. However, it's based on historical U.S. market data, and past performance is no guarantee of future results. It typically assumed a specific asset allocation, e.g., 50 to 75% stocks. Current market conditions, lower projected bond yields, potentially lower equity returns, may make 4% too aggressive for some. It was designed for a 30-year retirement. Longer lifespans may require a lower withdrawal rate. It doesn't account for taxes or investment fees. How to avoid this trap? Adopt a conservative initial withdrawal rate. Many financial planners now suggest starting with a more conservative withdrawal rate, perhaps in the 3% to 3.5% range, especially given longer potential lifespans and potentially lower future market returns. The right rate depends on your age, asset allocation, risk tolerance, other income sources, and desired legacy. Implement flexible withdrawal strategies. Instead of rigidly increasing withdrawals by inflation each year regardless of market performance, consider dynamic approaches. Guardrail strategy: set upper and lower bounds for your withdrawal rate, e.g., 3% and 5%. If strong market returns push your withdrawal rate below the lower guardrail, you might take a bonus distribution or increase spending. If market losses push the rate above the upper guardrail, you might forego the inflation adjustment or even reduce the withdrawal amount temporarily. Percentage of remaining balance. Withdraw a fixed percentage, e.g., 4% or 5%, of the current portfolio value each year. This naturally adjusts spending based on market performance but can lead to fluctuating income. Maintain a cash buffer. Keep 1 to 3 years' worth of living expenses in safe, liquid assets, cash, CDs, short-term bonds. During market downturns, you can draw from this buffer instead of selling stocks or other investments at depressed prices, giving your portfolio time to recover. Bucket strategy. Mentally or actually divide your portfolio into different buckets based on time horizon. Bucket 1, short-term, 1 to 3 years cash and equivalents for immediate living expenses. Bucket 2, mid-term, 4 to 10 years conservative bonds and income-generating assets to refill Bucket 1. Bucket 3, long-term, 10+ years growth-oriented assets, stocks, for long-term appreciation to outpace inflation and refill Bucket 2 over time. Stress test your plan. Use Monte Carlo simulations or other modeling tools, often available through financial advisors or online platforms, to test how your portfolio might hold up under various market scenarios, including periods of poor returns early in retirement. Consider phased retirement or part-time work. Easing into retirement or working part-time can reduce the amount you need to withdraw from your portfolio in the crucial early years, mitigating sequence risk. Be realistic about returns. Don't base your withdrawal plan on overly optimistic assumptions about future investment growth. Use conservative, long-term projections. Takeaway: how much you withdraw, and when, is critically important. Avoid overly aggressive withdrawals, especially early on, and build flexibility into your strategy to navigate market volatility without jeopardizing your long-term security. Understanding sequence of returns risk is vital. Trap number 5, the tax torpedo trap. The lure of the trap. A common misconception is that taxes largely disappear in retirement. Many assume their income will be lower, placing them in a lower tax bracket, and that retirement account withdrawals are somehow less taxes than earned income. Others simply fail to consider the cumulative tax impact of drawing income from multiple sources: Social Security, pensions, traditional 401(k)s/IRAs, and taxable investment accounts. This lack of tax planning can lead to unexpectedly large tax bills, effectively reducing net retirement income. Why it's so costly? Taxes can take a significant bite out of your retirement income, potentially forcing you to withdraw more from your savings, and pay even more tax, just to cover your living expenses and the tax liability itself. This accelerates portfolio depletion. Taxation of retirement account withdrawals. Withdrawals from traditional, pre-tax, retirement accounts like traditional 401(k)s, traditional IRAs, 403(b)s, and most pensions are generally taxed as ordinary income at your federal and potentially state tax rates in the year you take the withdrawal. If most of your savings are in these accounts, a large portion of your retirement income will be taxable. Required minimum distributions, RMDs starting at age 73. Currently, though this age has changed and may change again, the IRS generally requires you to start taking withdrawals from your traditional retirement accounts. These RMDs are calculated based on your account balance and life expectancy. They are fully taxable as ordinary income and can push you into a higher tax bracket, even if you don't need the money for living expenses. Failure to take the correct RMD results in a stiff penalty. Taxation of Social Security benefits. Up to 85% of your Social Security benefits can be subject to federal income tax, depending on your provisional income, adjusted gross income plus non-taxable interest plus 50% of your Social Security benefits. Many retirees are surprised to find that withdrawals from traditional IRAs/401(k)s can cause more of their Social Security benefits to become taxable, a double hit. This is sometimes referred to as the tax torpedo. Investment income taxes. Income generated in taxable brokerage accounts, dividends, interest, capital gains, is also subject to tax, although qualified dividends and long-term capital gains are typically taxed at lower rates than ordinary income. State income taxes. Don't forget state taxes. Most states tax retirement income, although rules vary widely. Some exempt Social Security, some exempt pension income up to certain limits, some offer specific retirement income exclusions, and a few have no state income tax at all. Understanding your specific state's rules is crucial. How to avoid this trap? Tax diversification. The most powerful strategy is to save for retirement using different account types with different tax treatments. Tax-deferred, traditional 401(k)(s), traditional IRAs. Contributions may be tax-deductible now, withdrawals are taxed in retirement. Tax-free, Roth 401(k)(s), Roth IRAs. Contributions are made with after-tax dollars, qualified withdrawals in retirement are tax-free. Taxable, brokerage accounts. Contributions are after-tax, investment earnings, interest, dividends, capital gains, are taxed annually or upon sale. Having funds in each bucket gives you flexibility in retirement to manage your taxable income by choosing which accounts to draw from each year. Strategic Roth conversions. Consider converting some funds from traditional retirement accounts to Roth accounts during years when your taxable income is lower, e.g., early retirement before RMDs start, or during a gap year. You'll pay income tax on the converted amount in the year of conversion, but future qualified withdrawals from the Roth will be tax-free, and Roth IRAs are not subject to RMDs for the original owner. This requires careful analysis of current versus future projected tax rates. Withdrawal sequencing strategy. Plan the order in which you tap your different accounts to optimize for taxes. A common strategy is: first, withdraw from taxable accounts, managing for long-term capital gains rates. Second, withdraw from tax-deferred accounts, traditional IRAs/401(k)(s). Last, withdraw from tax-free Roth accounts. This order isn't universal and should be adjusted based on your specific tax situation, RMDs, and goals. Manage provisional income for Social Security taxation. Be mindful of how withdrawals from traditional accounts impact the taxation of your Social Security benefits. Using Roth withdrawals or funds from taxable accounts may help keep your provisional income below the thresholds where benefits become taxable, or taxable at the higher 85% rate. Plan for RMDs. Understand when your RMDs begin and estimate their potential size and tax impact. Consider qualified charitable distributions, QCDs. If you are charitably inclined and over age 71.5, QCDs allow you to donate directly from your IRA to charity, up to $105,000 in 2024, indexed for inflation, satisfying your RMD and excluding the distribution from your taxable income. Consider tax-efficient investment location. Place less tax-efficient investments, like corporate bonds generating ordinary income, in tax-advantaged accounts, IRAs, 401(k)(s), and more tax-efficient investments, like stocks held for the long term, generating qualified dividends and capital gains, in taxable accounts. Understand state tax rules. Research the specific tax laws for retirees in your state or any state you are considering moving to. Takeaway: taxes don't end at retirement. Proactive tax planning throughout your saving years and a strategic approach to withdrawals in retirement are essential to maximize your net income and preserve your nest egg. Tax diversification is a cornerstone of effective retirement tax management. Trap number 6, the longevity miscalculation trap. The lure of the trap: when planning for retirement, people often use average life expectancy figures. Or they might anchor to the retirement age or lifespan of their parents or grandparents. However, averages can be misleading, and life expectancies have been steadily increasing due to advances in healthcare and healthier lifestyles. Planning for an average lifespan significantly increases the risk of outliving your savings if you happen to be one of the many who live longer than average. The fear of running out of money in very old age is a major source of anxiety. Why it's so costly. Running out of money late in life. potentially in your 80s or 90s when your ability to earn income is likely nil and healthcare needs may be highest, is a catastrophic scenario. Increasing lifespans. According to the Social Security Administration, about 1 out of every 4 65-year-olds today will live past age 90, and 1 out of 10 will live past age 95. For a couple reaching age 65, there's a high probability, often estimated around 50%, that at least one partner will live past 90. Planning for only 20 years of retirement, to age 85, may be dangerously insufficient. Compounded inflation impact. The longer you live, the more significant the impact of inflation. Trap number 3. Costs continue to rise over potentially 30-plus years of retirement. Higher late-life healthcare costs. While healthcare costs are high throughout retirement, trap number 2, they often increase significantly in the final years of life, including potential needs for expensive long-term care. Cognitive decline risk. Living longer also increases the risk of cognitive decline, like Alzheimer's or dementia, which can impair financial decision-making abilities and necessitate costly care or financial management assistance. Insufficient income streams. Savings might be depleted, and fixed income sources may not keep pace with decades of inflation, leaving individuals reliant solely on Social Security or family support. How to avoid this trap? Plan for a longer lifespan, be conservative, or perhaps realistic, in your planning assumptions. Instead of planning to age 85, consider planning your finances to last until age 90, 95, or even 100, especially if you are healthy or have a family history of longevity. For couples, plan for the possibility that at least one spouse will live to a very advanced age. Delay Social Security. As mentioned previously, delaying Social Security benefits until age 70 results in the maximum possible monthly benefit. This larger, inflation-adjusted income stream provides valuable longevity insurance, guaranteeing income for as long as you live. Consider annuities for lifetime income. Certain types of annuities, specifically, single premium immediate annuities or deferred income annuities, can provide a guaranteed stream of income for life, regardless of how long you live. While annuities have costs and complexities, they can be a tool to mitigate longevity risk by covering essential expenses. Ensure you understand the product and work with a reputable provider. Maintain investment growth potential. Planning for a longer retirement reinforces the need to keep a portion of your portfolio invested for growth. Trap number 3, to help your assets last longer and combat inflation over potentially 30-plus years. Build contingency plans. What happens if you do live to 95 or 100? Discuss what-if scenarios. This might involve downsizing your home later in retirement, adjusting spending levels, or relying more heavily on home equity. Having a plan B and C provides peace of mind. Regularly review and update your plan. Retirement planning isn't a one-time event. Revisit your assumptions, including life expectancy, every few years and adjust your savings, investment, and withdrawal strategies accordingly. Plan for potential incapacity. Include planning for potential cognitive decline as part of your longevity strategy. This involves having durable powers of attorney for finances and healthcare in place, potentially identifying a trusted individual or professional fiduciary who can manage your affairs if needed, and discussing your wishes with family. Takeaway: hope for the best, but plan for a long life. Underestimating your potential lifespan is a recipe for financial disaster in your most vulnerable years. Build longevity protection into your retirement income strategy. Trap number 7, the emotional reaction and lack of plan trap. The lure of the trap: investing and financial planning can be emotional endeavors. Fear and greed are powerful drivers that can lead even intelligent people to make poor decisions. Market volatility can trigger panic selling during downturns, selling low, or chasing hot stocks or trends during upswings, buying high. Furthermore, many people approach retirement without a clear, written financial plan or investment strategy. They might have accumulated savings in various accounts but lack a cohesive roadmap for how these assets will generate income, manage risk, cover expenses, and achieve their long-term goals. Decisions become reactive and ad hoc rather than proactive and strategic. Why it's so costly. Emotional decision-making and the absence of a plan often lead to suboptimal investment returns, unnecessary stress, and a failure to achieve retirement goals. Behavioral biases. Investors are susceptible to numerous behavioral biases. Loss aversion. The pain of losing is felt more strongly than the pleasure of gaining, leading people to sell prematurely during downturns to stop the bleeding. Herd mentality. Following the crowd, buying when everyone else is buying, often near market peaks, and selling when everyone else is selling, often near market bottoms. Recency bias. Giving too much weight to recent events, assuming current market trends, good or bad, will continue indefinitely. Overconfidence. Overestimating one's ability to predict market movements or pick winning investments. Market timing failures. Consistently timing the market, knowing when to get in and out, is notoriously difficult, if not impossible. Attempting to do so often results in missing the best recovery days, which can significantly harm long-term returns. Lack of cohesion. Without a plan, different financial decisions, saving, investing, insurance, estate planning, may work at cross purposes. There's no framework for evaluating choices or measuring progress. Increased stress and anxiety. Constantly reacting to market news or worrying about whether you're doing the right thing, without a guiding strategy creates significant mental strain. Missed opportunities. A lack of planning can mean failing to take advantage of tax optimization strategies, appropriate investment allocations, or necessary risk management tools, like insurance. How to avoid this trap? Develop a written financial plan. This is the cornerstone. A comprehensive financial plan should outline your goals, retirement age, desired income, legacy wishes, current financial situation, assets, liabilities, income, expenses, risk tolerance, investment strategy, insurance needs, tax strategy, and estate plan. It provides a roadmap and a basis for making informed decisions. Create an investment policy statement. IPS and IPS is a document that outlines your investment goals, risk tolerance, target asset allocation, criteria for selecting investments, and procedures for monitoring and rebalancing your portfolio. It acts as a guidepost to keep you disciplined, especially during volatile market periods. Refer back to it before making impulsive changes. Focus on what you can control. You cannot control market movements, economic cycles, or geopolitical events. Focus on what you can control: your savings rate, your spending, your asset allocation, based on your plan, investment costs, fees, and your own reactions. Automate and stay disciplined. Automate savings, trap number 1, and consider automating investment contributions, dollar cost averaging. Rebalance your portfolio periodically, e.g., annually or when allocations drift significantly, back to the target set in your IPS, forcing you to buy low and sell high systematically, rather than emotionally. Understand your risk tolerance. Honestly assess how much market fluctuation you can stomach without panicking. Your portfolio allocation should align with this tolerance. If you can't sleep at night worrying about market drops, your portfolio may be too aggressive for you, regardless of potential long-term returns. Educate yourself, but know your limits. Learn the basics of investing, retirement planning, and behavioral finance. Understanding concepts like diversification, compounding, and market history can provide perspective and reduce anxiety. However, also recognize the limits of your knowledge and when professional help is needed. Consider working with a fiduciary financial advisor. A qualified, fee-only fiduciary advisor is legally obligated to act in your best interest. They can help you create a comprehensive plan, build an appropriate portfolio, provide objective advice, act as a behavioral coach during turbulent times, and help you stay on track toward your goals. Their guidance can be invaluable in avoiding emotional mistakes. Takeaway: retirement success requires both a sound strategy and the discipline to stick with it. Avoid making financial decisions based on fear or greed. Create a comprehensive plan, commit it to writing, and rely on that plan, not your emotions, to navigate the inevitable ups and downs. Conclusion: charting your course to a secure retirement. The dream of a comfortable, secure retirement is attainable, but it requires vigilance and proactive planning. The 7 traps we've explored: insufficient savings, underestimating healthcare costs, ignoring inflation, aggressive withdrawals, overlooking taxes, miscalculating longevity, and emotional decision-making, represent the most common and costly hazards on the path to financial independence in later life. Falling into even one of these traps can significantly derail your plans, leading to financial stress, reduced quality of life, or the inability to retire when or how you desire. Falling into multiple traps can be financially devastating. However, knowledge is power. By understanding these potential pitfalls and implementing the strategies outlined for avoiding them, you can significantly improve your odds of achieving a successful retirement. The key themes recurring throughout these solutions are: start early and save consistently, leverage the power of compounding. Plan comprehensively, account for all major factors: healthcare, inflation, taxes, longevity. Invest wisely and diversify, aim for growth that outpaces inflation, manage risk, and utilize tax diversification. Be disciplined and patient, stick to your plan, avoid emotional reactions, and focus on the long term. Seek professional guidance. Don't hesitate to consult with fiduciary financial advisors, tax professionals, or elder law attorneys when needed. Retirement planning is not a one-time task but an ongoing journey. It requires regular review, adjustments based on changing circumstances and market conditions, and a commitment to staying informed. Don't let these traps dictate your future. Take control of your retirement planning today. Whether you are 25, 45, or 65, there are steps you can take now to strengthen your financial foundation and steer clear of these costly mistakes. By navigating wisely, you can transform the dream of a fulfilling retirement into your well-deserved reality.